All right, so it's that time again. I did 2 videos on this channel today.
Oh, did you?
I did like a
Hold on,
news
come here.
video,
Come
and
here.
what?
Come here. I need to fix you before you start reading. Okay, there you go. You're good. Now you can talk to them.
So I did 2 videos on here today,
Yeah.
um, and so I'm trying to balance things out a bit. And so the reading will continue, and I'm glad it's in a playlist, and we still
Oh,
haven't
that's a
found
good
Run.
idea.
Well, yeah,
Oh, I haven't looked for it. I've been busy sewing masks. I feel bad if I do
it's
anything
okay.
besides sewing masks right
It's
now.
okay. Um, So what I was seeing on the news was it looks like Canada's doing well with this whole thing. While in the States things are still kind of chaotic, but we'll see how things trend in the coming days and weeks. Yeah. So out of all of that, we're gonna go ahead and get back into my book, which is about something completely different.
Right.
Mike was emotional as he emerged from the darkness through which he passed back to the arcology from his world. It was a powerful experience going home, even if for only a few moments. It was also disorienting to move through the galaxy in such a manner. He could still smell Katie's perfume on him, and that provided him with some comfort as he tried to focus on the task at hand. He knew the dilemma was ahead of him, and he was tired of flying solo. He goes to the door and turns off the lock, opening the door and finding John waiting for him. I heard a noise and I heard it twice. Never heard that noise before, John says. Yeah, I was scanning things, Mike says in an unconvincing tone. It might be the first time you've lied to me and I haven't believed it. I always knew you were hiding things, but I chalked that up to you having more experience than me. The thing is, I've always had my suspicions and I'm wondering just how right they were, John says as he has his head down as they head down the hallway alone. Where are Tanya and Catherine? Mike asks. They got tired of waiting for you. You were in there 40 minutes, you know. I heard nothing in there for most of it, just a weird noise right after we came out. There was total silence the whole time, and then a thud just before he came back out. Why was there a thud? He asks, though he's certain he won't get an honest answer. Mike sighs and stops, grabbing John by the shoulders and looking him in the eyes. I'm sick of lying at everyone. I'll be honest. Everyone on this arcology is likely to die. Maybe the whole human race on Earth is about to die. I don't know. What I do know is I don't have a lot of time because they'll realize I'm here soon enough and the real battle will be on. Who will know you're here?
No, keep reading. Don't mind me.
See, because it's her birthday, she figures she can wander around the room
No,
at
there's
will.
a heater over here and I'm really cold.
So, because it's her birthday, she figures she can do whatever she wants.
I'm near the heater and I'm really cold.
It's not that cold down here. I put
My
the
hand-
heater on knowing you were coming down
My
here.
hand-
Don't. No,
Okay,
don't.
trust me, my hands are cold. Go on, continue reading. Don't mind me.
Okay. Who will know you're here? Now we're just showcasing where nobody's sitting. John asks, wondering if Mike's losing his mind the same as many others since they started working with Earthlings. You're right, I'm crazy, let's drop it, Mike says, and they move on. They head into the police station. They find officers there from all 3 sections. Mike's aware that John is staring at him the whole time as he tries to ignore it. He tries to ignore it. Mike nods. This is a good start. We need all of you to work as a unit here. It's the 11 of us against whatever we're facing. I wish I could give you more information than that. Mike sits down and holds his head in his hands. He cares about these people. They're human beings, the same as he is. Their DNA is virtually identical to his. They have the same strengths and flaws as his people do. He has spent enough time with people from Earth to know that they're good at heart, and he feels they just need proper direction. They have families and they have the right to a future as well. He hates this, the fact that he has all this information they don't. He doesn't want to hide it anymore, knowing and his secrets are eating away at him. Mike, Tanya asked, putting her hand on his shoulder. In their time together, he had always been composed and assumed a leadership role, no hesitations in any actions he took. She's shaken, as she has never seen him upset like this, and even in the midst of the dead arcology that they were just on. What is it? Mike looks up and wants to tell her the truth. You're good people. I've argued this to no end, and yet here we are. I can tell you this illness sweeping through this environment's not a virus, not in the traditional sense. I believe this is some method used to exploit the aggression centers of the human brain. I've not figured out the means to turn people, but I believe that's what's going on here. I need to figure out the transmission method, and then maybe we can start working on turning people back to their normal selves. He looks at Catherine. You're either immune or you avoided exposure somehow. I need to run some tests on you. Catherine nods right away. Of course, anything you need, Mike. I can't let this happen to these people. The thing is, You're talking about it as if you're not one of us. I mean, you're a human being, so talking about humans in the third person seems a little bit crazy. Carissa steps forward, hand on her gun again. And we've seen where crazy goes. It goes there fast, too. You seem like a guy with answers, but what if you become infected and we have to take you down? Mike slowly gets to his feet. He's never felt more aware of his surroundings. He then steps over to Carissa and quietly pulls the gun from her hand. Cops don't put their hands on their guns unless they're willing to use them. You'd never shoot me, I can see it in your eyes. He then looks around at the rest of the officers. Maybe it's time to tell you the truth. Maybe I don't have anything left to lose. He realizes that this is the only answer as he hands the gun back. General Rightly has been... Next scene. General Rightly's been pacing in his office since Mike's call. When there's a friendly knock at the door, he jumps with a bit of fright. He looks on the security camera and sees a friendly face there. He opens the door and Gora, leader of Altel, steps into the room. Gora extends a four-fingered hand to Rightly and they shake hands warmly. Kale sits behind the desk as Gora sits across from him. You look like your father. Gora smiles. You flatter me. That's a matter of opinion. Altilians have deep red eyes, 4 fingers per hand, and 3 toes per foot, and their skin's a bright orange color with gills visible on their necks. They're amphibious, and there's even a small amount of webbing at the base of their fingers and toes to allude to the fact that combined with the gills.
She's like, hey, you're over here? Okay.
Oh, alright. Altilians have an unmistakable lisp when they speak English. Their native language is spoken in a series of clicking noises, ones which can't be spoken above or underwater. Can be spoken above or underwater. Their appearance frightens many of General Rightly's people, and has led to assumed suspicion regarding their hopes and desires. Cale Rightly has always been a staunch defender of the Altilian people and their politicians. He saw them as masters of the land and sea. He felt their reputation for being warmongers was a misunderstanding by people who were racist against people from that world. When Gora's father, Geyer, had invaded Altair, it had been a defensive action. Altair certainly would have invaded Altil had they not invaded first. Altair had long been suspected of spying activity on Altil, and reports were they would try to assassinate Geyer, and that was reportedly the straw that broke Altil's back. Much like Mike was a vocal defender of Earth, Cale staunchly defended Altil, and had for 40 years as a general in Voltaire's army. So Voltaire's is the planet that Mike's from. He believed that his support of Altil had saved Voltaire's from attacks many times over. Altil was a strong ally to have against the threats from other worlds. From that and other worlds could become an Earth, in Cale's view, was an emerging threat. I'm afraid this is not a social call, Gora, Cale says with a sigh. I could judge that from your tone, so I rushed over. You know, we're very grateful for your continued support of our world in these trying times. Altair has recently tried to rebel against us, and it's being portrayed badly by your news services. Freedom is fine, but they're not reporting the truth, Gora says while he stares Cale down. If Cale's aware he's being stared down, he doesn't show it. He actually smiles. I've been meaning to discuss news services with some of the people in charge of such things. They do seem to have a slant against what you're doing, and that's simply wrong. It's been a rough go for your people with Altair, and that makes the reason I called you here even more taxing. Cale scratches his gray-haired head and wonders how to say what needs to be said and not to offend his ally. You don't have to hide anything from me. We're all friends here. Cale nods, but that doesn't make what he has to say any easier to spit out. Recently, there have been reports of arcologies above Earth being exterminated. Out of concern this might be a new virus that could also infect those of us here on Voltaire's, I've taken steps to ensure we're safe. What are those steps, General? Cale looks towards the ceiling. There are no answers there. Mike Translow's reported back there is no viral infection, but he believes an invading alien force is responsible for this, and they mean to do further damage to the human race. Gora frowns. When an Altilian frowns, wrinkles appear all over their face, and their eyes almost disappear in the folds. Their head almost seems to contract and is frightening to anyone who witnesses this event, no matter how long they've known them or how well they get along with them. Gora's face returns to its normal state when he sees the wide-eyed stare of Cale Rightly. Oh, I do not blame you. I blame the media for spreading these lies. Mike is just doing what he thinks is the right thing here. Maybe I can send some scout ships out to meet him and discuss the matter with him. Okay, I'll do my best to make sure this never gets out to the public. Gora nods as he fights the urge to frown again, or possibly do something far worse in his anger. All we want as a people is to be understood. Maybe we can come up with a cure for the plague that has befallen mankind here. We know my world's science is far ahead of any other, so we can use that as a chance to help where it isn't expected. I don't want our reputation further sullied. Kale grins. That would be a really big help, and might diffuse an otherwise tense situation here. May it be of any help to you in this matter, he asks. Gora pauses to consider what favor he might ask of Kale and then stares him straight in the eye. If I were you, I'd bring Mike home. I would make certain he's not allowed to share this information with your insane media types, and then you can leave this arcology mess to me. My people can eradicate any plague for any species in any universe. I hold out hope that our true, peaceful nature will be seen by all someday. Until then, the battle continues. You have my sympathy, Kale says as he pats the alien ally on the shoulder. Gora stands and doesn't look over at Kale any further. It'd be wise for you to bring Mike home immediately. I understand he has a wife he loves and a good life here. It's of little use should he become ill and pass on near Earth, a tragedy that can be avoided. I'd hate to see someone from Falteris fall victim to this plague you've described. Just imagine the field day the media would have with that. The doctored footage would be everywhere and my people would be stuck living in fear for their lives. Well, no one wants that. I'll contact you once I've brought Mike home, Kale says as Gora leaves the office without a goodbye or even a wave. Kale shudders as he thinks of where this could lead. He steered his people through decades of peace, and the insane ramblings of Mike Translow could undo all of that. He has to find someone to bring Mike home, and he thinks he knows just who the person is for the job, though he wonders how Gora knew so much about Mike. Mike's relatively well known, but he isn't very important in the grand scheme of things at this point. Kale shakes his head while he suppresses his suspicions of his ally and chalks that up to his own latent racist tendencies. And we go on to the next scene, which I believe is the last one in this chapter. Is it? Yes, it is. The boardroom had been closed. Mike stands on a stage at one end of the room. He has requested the lights be turned out with one spotlight on him so he can't see those in attendance. He paces on the small stage and wonders if he's committing career suicide here. As bad as this might seem, his career wasn't worth 500,000 lives that he may be able to save. So many had already died, and it was time to tell these people the truth no matter the cost. I'm not from Earth, he starts, and the weight of the world is lifted off of his shoulders. I'm from your sister world, a planet that rotates around twin suns. A world 3 times the size of your own, which also resides in what you'd consider to be that perfect zone that allows life to form and evolve as it has on Earth, which is the Goldilocks zone. I cannot explain to you why I look like you or why I speak like you. There's a theory we were both seeded by the same comet dust billions of years ago, and that seed of life developed in the same manner here as there. We've actually been meaning to look into that further, but this is another matter that is complicated and not necessary as to why I brought you here. My world, Falteris, is a land of lush jungles and plentiful marshes and seas. My people have always lived in harmony with nature around us. Our population's only around 30% of what you have in your world below us here. I know you've almost 700 million in those arcologies, so the percentage drops if you add those totals in as well. It is not a perfect world I was born into. It has its problems, but we try to live in harmony with the world around us. He pauses and sits down on the stage. I know this sounds completely insane to all of you. Let me explain this to you in another term here. He pulls his handheld computer from his pocket and projects a 3-dimensional image of his solar system over the people watching. That's my home world. He pushes a few buttons and the image zooms in on a home at the foot of large trees. That's my home. I look at this every night before I sleep, and I wish it was a live shot instead of a photo image. My wife's there waiting for me to come home. She's the reason for being here. She taught me to fight for that which deserves to be fought for. I was sent here to investigate the arcology deaths on 443. Though I've worked on Earth before with special ops on smaller missions and more to investigate your people, more to investigate your people than to do any detective work on a scale like this. I was given false credentials, which we had no problem counterfeiting, which got me past our boss Dave because he isn't exactly good at details. He doesn't do background checks. In short, the man's short-sighted, and he actually might try to blow up this arcology before the disease we've seen spreads. The fear of what is happening here could be enough to cause that type of knee-jerk reaction, and he's not alone in that way of thinking. That leaves us with a few enemies who are supposed to be on our side. He pauses, turns off the image of his homeworld, and stands up again. There's an invading force among you. There's an ugly species which will gladly kill you all rather than let you live. They invaded a world 5 years ago and have been slowly killing off all of its inhabitants as a sign of strength. I know this through my contacts among a resistance against them. God, this must sound insane. Your world doesn't even publicly acknowledge there are any other worlds with life on them. I just need you to trust me since your lives are on the line here. They're what you'd call real aliens among you. They have red eyes, orange skin, and they're amphibious. Now, the item that my leader doesn't want you to see is this. They have the ability to turn their skin pitch black in the dark to blend in, and they're evil to the core. They have been xenophobic on a level even Earth has never dreamed of being. They view Earth as a home planet to the greatest parasite in the universe, mankind. The thing is, I'm also a member of this whole mankind thing, and my leaders have been in bed with Altilian leadership for decades out of fear. Keep your friends close and your enemies closer only works for so long. This leaves me in a bad spot. Earlier today, I went to my homeworld using a personal transportation device that holds technology your people have yet to invent. Bending space via a wormhole is the fastest way to travel and is relatively safe as well. While I was home and pleading my case, I was told I didn't have any proof of the invaders being here since I didn't have actual footage of them firing a thermal ray at Sterling Bishop last night. There could be no others using this technology no matter what my general tells me. These weapons do not exist among your people. These weapons do not exist among my people as they were seen as too brutal and horrible. They literally cook any body part that's fired upon within a second. Chest shot means instant death as the heart, lungs, spleen, liver are all cooked. Impacted organs can't function a moment longer and your victim is dead before they hit the floor. Mike pauses and rubs his eyes as his headache returns. There's so much here for these people to take in, and in their shoes, he wouldn't believe it. He expected they might fire on him or take him into custody, certain that the illness that turned everyone crazy had somehow contaminated him during his time on Arcology 443. Altilians are far more evil than even my commanding officer knows, though he has to at least suspect it. They kill humans. They kill those who they enslave, and then sometimes they eat them. See, in their culture, if you devour something, you gain its strength. It's an ancient religious belief they can't get free of. I just can't believe my homeworld calls them an ally. It makes me sick to my stomach, and standing before you people, I can't apologize enough. They're here, and I can't offer you the backup that I should be able to. I should have a battalion on its way here to aid you in your hour of need. But that's not happening. Instead, I have to come clean with you and inform you that you've all been recruited into the Falteri's military as honorary members. I can do that, though I'm unable to provide you with the weapons I wish I could. Mike holds up at his right hand, left hand over his heart. It is with a heavy heart that I induct every one of you into my army. I know you'll serve bravely. I know many of you lack experience that would be handy in this situation, but things are as they are, and I accept that. There's no guaranteed victory, but I'll do all in my power to arm you so that you can be every bit as ready for those insects as they are for you. Again, he rubs his eyes as the headache gets worse. I just wish there was an easier way to do this. Maybe they can be caught off guard. Maybe I actually am crazy and this has nothing to do with those evil fish people. Mike then brings the light up and every person in the room is standing and has their right hands raised, left hands over their hearts. We're behind you, John says, as the man who turned the lights back on. Let's kill every one of those fish skin pricks. Advanced culture or not, I don't believe in failure. Mike smiles. I may want to keep you in my army after all this is said and done, John. That's the end of chapter 6.
All right.
So, just like that, everything is revealed.
Mm-hmm.
The aliens that are behind it, what's on the line, and then, of course, the reality that appeasement's not working.
Right.
Which goes right back to World War II. Appeasement doesn't work. All right, so there you go. Happy birthday. I know this wasn't
Apocalypse birthday.
This wasn't what you were looking forward to. Well,
I know this is still not Vegas. I'm not sure what's up with that, but this is still not Vegas.
Sorry. We'll have a birthday party for you in Vegas. Sometime.
One day.
Next year.
Yeah, I was just gonna say next year.
Well, if we're in the area, there's the male dancers at the one across the street. Remember there was that one that tried getting a picture with you?
Yes.
He was all oily and shirtless. Yeah. So
can go over there.
Yeah.
No.
So we can get you in with those guys. That'll be your birthday present from me. So there you go.
I would not enjoy that.
Be a good birthday present for me too, because she would not be comfortable. It would be really funny to watch. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, for all of your support. Means a lot at this time. Of course, at any time it does, but right now with everything that's going on, it is greatly appreciated. So thank you for everybody who's tuning in regularly. It's about 400 people tuning in regularly for this. So that's not bad. 400 people listening to me read to you. It's not too bad at all.
That's kind of fun, isn't it?
That's kind of weird, but yeah.
That's
so there you
a
go.
lot of people listening to your story.
Yes.
That's kind of fun.
That is. So thank you guys so much for everything. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. And there will be more cat videos as well. I've taken a video of Shadow, a video of all 4 cats. They come out to about 4 minutes. So if you're able to take a video of Lilybell.
No, see, you need to do a video of Lilybell so they can see what she does to you. Because she doesn't do the flopping. Well, she does flopping to me, but not like she does with you.
Okay.
She's totally different with you.
Okay.
I could always do Pixel, but you have to do Lilybell.
Okay.
It's kind of funny. She's completely different with the two of us.
Well, then we could both do a video with Lilybell.
Okay.
So, okay. Oh, and somebody pointed out in the video took the 4 cats too that the dry skin Lilybell has. So we know that she has that, and we try not to pet that part of her back because we know that it is tough for her.
I know.
So
poor kitty.
Poor kitty. So
she has really fine, dense fur. I think if we like shaved her fur, she would look like half the cat.
Yes.
Her fur is so dense.
Yes.
But she's so soft too.
Yeah, she's a very nice.
So
she's
dense.
a nice cat. So
she's a lot of.
She really doesn't bite. I mean, she nipped at me during that video, but I have not been bit by her. She always nips. She doesn't actually bite.
No.
And if you actually give her your hand when she's trying to bite, she'll back off like, oh well, fine.
It's no fun anymore.
I'll let you away with it this time. All right. Thanks again. And thank you guys so much for all your support, whether you're supporting on the channel or supporting on Patreon. It's all really important right now. Thank you guys so much for helping me be able to continue to provide you with the content and to provide us with the peace of mind. Stay safe. Stay home if you can. And if you can't, be as safe as you can out there. Thank you guys so much for everything. I'll talk to you again soon.